Let's be honest, if there was a guaranteed way to bypass decades of grinding labor and jump straight to the reward, human nature dictates we'd at least be curious. Take two lifelong friends, Rajan and Mithan. Rajan took the traditional route, a steady job, a quiet life, and the slow accumulation of stability. Mithan operated on a completely different frequency. He lived by the philosophy of Jugaad, the relentless pursuit of loopholes, workarounds, and maximum reward for minimal effort. This chart outlines the ultimate workaround Mithan found tucked inside a torn newspaper clipping. It detailed an ancient occult ritual called the Andakup Siddhi. The instructions presented a remarkably simple equation. Spend 5 consecutive nights in a dry well, recite a specific incantation, and in exchange, receive infinite wealth. To a mind primed to look for cheats, a fragmented set of supernatural instructions in a tabloid looks like a brilliant, overlooked exploit in the system of reality. The ritual's first requirement is environmental isolation. The practitioner must locate an abandoned, completely dry well, positioned on the absolute fringes of civilization, far away from any outside observation. From there, the process requires extreme sensory deprivation over 5 nights. The practitioner descends into the pitch black, driving rusty nails into the dirt walls and reciting a dark mantra into the void. On the 5th night, that void shattered. The soil at the bottom of the well turned unnaturally cold, the earth trembled, and a heavy, disembodied voice echoed upward, demanding to know what the invoker desired. Facing the impossible, Mithan didn't hesitate. He gave the voice exactly what he had always wanted: money, power, and an effortlessly easy life. Mithan walked away convinced of his own brilliance, unaware that his actions had officially initiated a binding, high-stakes transaction with an ancient machine. This graph plots Mithan's financial trajectory immediately following the 5th night. Look at the labor metric. It stays completely flat, but the wealth metric spikes vertically. He started hitting back-to-back lotteries. Complex real estate disputes that usually take years in court were dissolving in his favor in a matter of days. Within months, his physical reality mutated to match the numbers. He abandoned his old home with its leaking roof and relocated to a newly built, heavily fortified mansion, complete with high walls and a small army of staff. He invited Rajan over specifically to display the sprawling estate. He used the opulent feast and the luxury cars as physical proof to his friend that the shortcut was the superior strategy. Yet basic economics still apply to the supernatural. If an opaque system delivers a massive immediate payout with absolutely zero upfront cost, the capital carries a devastatingly high hidden interest rate. The initial capital ran out a few months later. The supernatural luck sharply inverted. High-value property deals suddenly collapsed into aggressive lawsuits. Buyers turned hostile, and the money drained away as fast as it had materialized. Then the pushback moved into his head. Mithan lost the ability to sleep, plagued by recurring, paralyzing nightmares, where he was trapped deep inside a damp, lightless cave, desperately fighting for oxygen. Eventually, the threat bled into his waking hours. In the middle of his lavish, empty bedroom, surrounded by creeping shadows, an invisible weight pressed down on his chest, violently choking him until he nearly blacked out. A streak of bad luck does not place hands around your throat. These were highly targeted, aggressive actions from an entity that was officially initiating a hostile foreclosure. Terrified and out of options, Mithan confessed everything to Rajan, who immediately brought in Baba Gorakhnath, an occult specialist trained to forensically diagnose supernatural breaches. Looking back at our original flowchart, Baba Gorakhnath quickly identified the glitch. The clipping detailed the invocation mechanism, but contained a glaring omission: the mandatory maintenance cost. Expanding the diagram reveals the full picture. The contract requires a recurring loop. The entity demands a blood sacrifice on every Amavasya, the new moon. The horrifying reality finally clicked into place. Mithan had spent the last few months actively starving a lethal apex predator. The timeline was now critical. The following night was Mahalaya Amavasya, the most potent new moon of the year, forcing Mithan into a desperate scramble to settle his massive supernatural arrears before the ultimate deadline. Armed with a black rooster for the required offering, he descended back into the suffocating, pitch-black dirt of the well, retracing his exact initial steps. He completed the chant and severed the bird's neck. The moment the blood hit the dry floor, the earth reacted unnaturally, instantly absorbing the liquid as if inhaling it, leaving the soil completely parched. Methan assumed the transaction was complete. He made a fatal miscalculation, believing that supernatural ledgers operate like human banks, where a single late payment is enough to erase months of gross default. The ground beneath him violently fractured. A massive, high-pressure spout of thick blood erupted directly out of the deep cracks, rejecting the settlement and spraying across the walls. A heavy, grating voice reverberated through the well. It declared that a single, meager offering could not compensate for months of starvation. The entity was bypassing the sacrifice to seize the debtor himself. Faster, more urgent tone. Monstrous, blackened hands burst out of the ruptured soil. Before Methan could scream, the grip locked onto him, instantly dragging him down into solid earth. The well fell completely silent. Standing safely above, Baba Gorakhnath understood the truth. A bargain struck with incomplete knowledge functions as a meticulously designed trap, ensuring the true cost of unearned success is eventually paid in full.